Howdy y'all, my name is Price and welcome back to some more Slime Rancher. We're here, and y'all, we've already gotten all the treasure pods. We've got, like, everything you can find out in the wild. Like, this is, I don't even know what to do. I don't even know what to do, y'all. But, howdy. I hope you're having a good morning. Today, it is, for me, it is October the 16th, which means it's probably October the 17th for y'all. Hope you're having a good one. So yeah, like I said, last time we got all the treasure pods for the first time. I mean, all for the first time, of course, but without having to look them up. It's an accomplishment. It's an achievement for me. I'm very happy about that. I was talking to Chrissy afterwards once I finally had done it, and you know, she was like, you know, which one was the last one? And I was like, it's that one that was like behind the leaves. And she was like, yep, that's the one that like everybody struggles with. And it makes sense. Like I said before, the reason that I even thought to look there is because in the first game, there was an important item hidden behind like a little thing like that in the ruins, the ancient ruins. And so in order to get that, you had to kind of know, like you might get there on your own. You might be able to just like find it. But for the most part, I think that's one of the ones that people are like, okay, where do I find this thing? Oh, there's a thing there? So that's the only reason I even thought to look there, was because I had that prior knowledge, you know? And just the luck of getting up there, because like legitimately, that experience of like looking at that ledge and being like, huh, I've never been there. I did not think there was going to be a pod there necessarily, but I was like, I gotta mark it off the list, you know? But there were so many other pods that were nearby. I was like, yeah, there's not a chance it's over there. But then seeing that little gap behind the leaves gave me the hope that I needed. And now, like, I feel very accomplished from that. So we got a pink guy over here. I think we said we're going to keep this pinky, right? We were trying to get a bunny over here, but we're going to keep this pinky. How's it going, bud? You're going to stick around. We're going to get some more Gordos going today, I think. We're going to try to. We'll probably need to go out and gather some resources in order to do so. And then what I think I might start doing is I might start getting rid of our Largos. I might start saying, okay, we are going to actually start new slimes. So what I might do is I might, towards the end of this, start just emptying out all of our corrals, and then I'll be going through and I'll be looking at all y'all's comments, so, you know, leave them as soon as you can, to see what slimes you want to see in the future. I guess, because I'm trying to think, that's this episode. Y'all have given me some good ideas already, so I'll pull from the existing ones, but I'll try not to fill up all of them so I can get your comments for the next ones. Or maybe we'll just spend the next couple of episodes not even doing anything with slimes until I've got all your suggestions. That might actually be what happens. That might actually be what we do. Okay. But right now I need to just clear out all these plorts. So I'll clear out all these Largos, and then we will be able to fill their pens with other things. And so while between now and then, I'll work on the Gordos. I'll work on decorating. We've got plenty of plorts to be able to do stuff with. And I'll go and I'll put all these plorts into the refinery as well. Because, you know, we have plenty of money. We're in 6 digits. At 6 digits... You don't need to be making any more money. At least not yet in this game. You know, in the future, as they add more things and probably add like a 7Z corporation club thing. I forget what they called that. 7Z Rewards Club, that's right. The 7Z Rewards Club from the first game. I'm sure that they will do something similar to that, where essentially you reach a point in the game where the corporation's like, hey, you can buy these fun things for your conservatory and expand it a little bit. And it's basically like, sink all your money into it, and you will get some good upgrades, like every 4th or 5th upgrade. And then the other stuff is like cosmetic, which is also really cool because it takes your ranch from like looking like nothing to looking like something. But I'll also say the conservatory kind of already has a very complete feeling look to it. Now that said, that doesn't mean that they can't add to this, right? Or maybe out in these areas, right? Maybe you can expand the outer areas, right? Maybe over here, this is as good as it gets. Maybe you can get more stuff hanging from the ceiling. Maybe you can get some like lights going around, maybe some stuff to go on the tree, you know, some things, right? What you know, what's this space used for? Maybe something like that. This could be a good spot for a council of Gordos, maybe. Nah, there's better spots. Okay, Okay, so let's go check on... Are y'all looking good? You're looking fine. As long as there aren't like a billion plorts on the ground near them, I think we're okay. We'll go check on these guys. And then the hunter ones I actually have the refinery link next to, right? So that should be helpful as well. All right, don't worry, you bats. Don't worry. Here you go, bats. Eat, be merry. It's Dracula times, I guess. Boop, bop, boop, bop, boop. Okay. So, trying to think what else has been going on around here, out in the world. Oh, goodness. Okay. Oh, well, one thing, you know, I've been talking about Chrissy and I've been doing like a horror movie-thon for October, and, you know, we've been kind of like stepping outside of the strict nature of having to watch horror movies, and so we were actually listening to some YouTube videos the other day, because, you know, that's what we do. We listen to YouTube videos like their podcasts. That's what I do. That's kind of what y'all are doing, right? And the creator that we watched was named Wendigoon, which I'm sure a lot of y'all have heard of. He's a very big creator. He's been growing very fast. So congratulations to him for all of his success. But he does these kind of like deep dives on sort of horror or cryptid related or like supernatural kind of stuff. And he's got a very good voice and style to carry those things forward. Seems like a really good dude. So, you know, I would say if you're interested in that kind of stuff, curious about like kind of like sort of like big horror stories or ideas that you haven't like really explored, or like, you know, one of them that he did recently was he basically explained the book Paradise Lost, which is a very interesting book from a very long time ago. That you know, I won't say too much about it. I'm not a religious individual, but it is a book that is written about Lucifer's fall from heaven, which to me is just a really neat story. Like, I find that as like a neat story. And so I found that really interesting. But, you know, it also might be, if you are Christian and religious, you might still find a lot in there that's very interesting, because it does give a very vivid picture of an idea of kind of how things would have looked or been or whatever. I don't know how else to explain it. It was really interesting. Christy and I both found it really interesting. And he does a bunch of different kinds of videos. The one that I found him with, and I think the one that a lot of people found him with, was he did an incredible breakdown of the story of Five Nights at Freddy's as far as he sees it, because, right, there's a lot of disagreement among the community as to how kind of things carried out. And from my perspective, like from what he said and versus what I think in Five Nights and how it went out, I think he's probably the closest to what the true story is or should be. Because the way that he builds like the concept of like the motivations behind the characters and sort of the chain of events and how they unfold, it does make the story make a pretty good amount of sense. There's some things that I would change. You know, I have my own modifications and everything like that. And I've actually considered maybe making a similar video where I just talk about the story of Five Nights at Freddy's. Again, from the perspective of me, like what I think. And like I said, Wendigoon's pretty close. He's pretty close to what I think would be the accurate thing. Mostly for me, I would add more character motivations to take people away from just having like these sort of, you know, something to the effect of like, oh, they snapped and now they're killing all these kids or whatever, right? That's the story of Five Nights at Freddy's to a degree, right? And like, I think that's cool to a degree, but I also think that it's far more, and Wendigoon brings this up in his video, that, you know, giving them motivations, right, actual character motivations that, like, are more human instead of just, like, evil and good, makes the story more interesting, right? It's not like, this evil guy made these evil animatronics because he's evil, right? It's like, this person experienced traumatic events and also had a certain disconnection from humanity that he started to slowly fall into this place in order to try and, in my opinion, you know, I'll give you, like, this is my little thing on it. I would like to think that if you're a Five Nights at Freddy's fan, you know what I'm talking about, and if you're not, please just bear with me for a moment. We will move on to other topics, I promise. But for me, I think the best way, hi bud, to really see it make sense and to, I think, carry it forward in a good way, like, because this is how good villains work, in my opinion, is like in his mind, in Afton's mind, he's helping people. He's doing the right thing. He's making the world a better place. It's not just, oh, I want to find the secret to immortality. I don't think that was his goal at all, at least not earlier on. I think it was trying to undo some bad things he had done and continuing to compensate and to just have, bad ideas, poor beliefs, like a misunderstanding of how people work and kind of the impact he was having. Anyway, I have some ideas that would make it, I think, significantly different enough to be worth putting out there. I'm curious if any of y'all out there would be interested in something like that, because right now my channel is 100% Slime Rancher, and for YouTube algorithm purposes, that is a really good thing to have a very consistent style. Nothing changes. But at the same time, once you fall into a sort of rhythm with things, you can kind of get locked into where you're at. Like YouTube will stop recommending you outside of your own space. So it's sort of a gamble to put something new out there, because breaking that consistency with another video, and if that video doesn't do well, then YouTube's like, okay, this person's messing things up now. Maybe they're not worth it anymore. YouTube's very much feast or famine. If you're not just killing it with the algorithm, then they're going to push you as far to the bottom as they can. It sucks. YouTube really only, like, from a company standpoint, they really only care about the top creators, and they honestly do everything they can to push you from smaller channels up to bigger channels rather than the other way around, right? So just a question for y'all. I'd be curious to know, and also I want to say I have nothing against any of these creators, all right? We're all in this together. I have no problems with them. This is a problem with YouTube. Look at the people on the side that are suggested to you for the videos to watch next. I am curious. How many of them have higher sub counts than me and view counts, and how many of them have lower? And I think you will find that all of them, or mostly all of them, have higher view counts and subscriber counts than I do, right? So YouTube's saying, oh, hey, if you like this small creator, why don't you go check out the biggest creator on the platform? Instead of, hey, you like this smaller creator, maybe you'll like other smaller creators, because I'd much rather it be that way. I would much rather it be someone comes and watches my video, which I don't know where this video's at when you're watching it. On the first day, it's almost maybe at 1,000 videos or 1,000 views, hopefully, right? That's where I'm at. Other creators, you know, they'll be like, if I don't get 100,000 views on my first video, then I'm gonna be sad. I think that those people need less suggestions from channels like me than someone who, they're just trying to make their first 1,000 subs. They're trying to make their first 100 views, right? There's some of y'all out there that have your own YouTube channels and you're trying to grow. I would much rather my videos point to you than to point to a larger channel. And again, no disrespect to the larger channels. I actually think they're amazing, and I look at them in order to kind of come up with ideas for myself. So, you know, that's why I'm not naming names or anything like that, because I legitimately have no problem with larger creators. I think that ultimately they help the platform grow, right? You can see someone like, you know, Jacksepticeye on TV, or, you know, you can see his toys in like a Walmart or whatever. And the fact that people outside of the YouTube space will then come to YouTube to see Jack, and then maybe they'll go and they'll find other creators alongside that, right? So that, I think, you know, is incredible, and that contribution cannot be overlooked. So again, legitimately, I only look at larger creators like them as a benefit to us as a community. I wish YouTube as a program, or as a company, and when it comes to the algorithm, I wish that they would recognize how important it is to support the smaller creators and how that builds the larger community of YouTube. Right now, it feels like YouTube is making itself more like a television network, and they're kind of picking faves. And they oftentimes, it seems like, you know, maybe this is conspiracy me, but I don't think it is, that those YouTube channels owned by big cable networks like NBC or CBS or any of those, they seem to get suggested a lot. Almost as if they have some kind of financial relationship with YouTube in order to promote their videos over others. That's not really, I think, that far outside the realm of possibility. I mean, Google probably owns portions of those companies, or at least like stakes in them. So it makes sense from a business standpoint, but not from a community standpoint. And I would argue that the era that we're moving into and the era that we're kind of already in with content creators and Twitch streamers and everything like that is an era of small creators, of communities, and of accountability and authenticity, right? Y'all watch me not just because, oh, you think I'm funny, and oh, you think my videos are neat or whatever like that. But I would like to think you also watch me because you think I'm a good person. You know what I mean? Like, you see me as someone who is worth having in your life and to some degree in order to better you, right? Or to be a benefit to you. Maybe not to better you, but like in order to be someone who's a voice or an idea that is comforting, right? That brings you some positivity, some joy, etc. And I think that's kind of how people view a lot of the creators that they watch. It's not just about, oh, they do these fun game things, but they are similar to me in my views, and they understand the community that I'm a part of, and they're sensitive to my needs and things like that, right? I think that that's becoming a bigger and bigger and bigger and more important thing. And so if YouTube continues to push more towards just corporatized, bigger channels that aren't even YouTube creators, they're just showing clips from TV, that's no good, man. Guess what? People abandon TV for several reasons, not just because it's expensive, okay? A lot of that content is not made for people under the age of 40. And as someone who is getting close to the age of 40, I'll tell you, a lot of that content isn't for people under the age of 50. Now, no disrespect to those of y'all out there who are older than I am. Again, this is no criticism of you. This is a criticism of the larger media community, not recognizing that as markets change, you don't try and force old things onto the markets. You should try and ride that wave, because otherwise you're going to become an irrelevant brand, an embarrassing brand, a brand that no one will be associating themselves with in 5, 10, 15 years. You know what I mean? I think that I think y'all get what I'm trying to say. Community is what the focus of YouTube should be. Community. At least that's my take on it. Okay. At this point, we are at 20 minutes. I'm going to clear out the pink bunnies for right now. Okay? We're going to send you guys off to the slime sea. I hope you all pop up in a neat space. We looked at it last episode. We know that the slime sea is not only safe, but perhaps a very enjoyable place for these slimes to go to. So we're cool doing this, all right? I'm going to clear out some of these pens. I'm not going to create any Largos today, any new ones. And then I want y'all all to suggest down below what you would like to do as our next Largos. You know what? I'm going to leave one of these each. One of these each. And you know what we're going to try and do? We're going to try and come up with the name for these guys. Now, I'll have to, I guess, mention that at the beginning of next episode, because I always have these episodes go out like a day later, so I'm not going to be able to read your comments until I'm already into the next one, if that makes sense, right? So I'm not exactly sure how we're going to pull this off. But we will, I think, try and use this as an opportunity to maybe name them. Because I know I've been saying that we're going to name them. And I know y'all have been leaving great comments down below. So I will go through those, and I'll try and collate a list and see if I can't pull from there. And then, we'll have y'all's comments down there as well. And we'll see what we end up landing on. So maybe I will get rid of them all, because either way it's going to end up happening. But yeah, I guess for right now, put out your names for these guys, and in a future episode not too long from now, we will talk about their names. Oh, or we'll have a vote. We'll have a vote. Here's what we're gonna do. So I'm gonna put out a vote right now on my YouTube channel. Well, not quite right now, but you know, jump, buddy. I want to get a good shot of you. Why you gotta move so much? Screenshot. No, screenshot. Okay. Now you. They love to come at you, these bunnies. Trying to take screenshots so that, like, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a picture on there with like a little set of comments, so you can comment down below what you think the name should be, right? And then we'll do a second one where we do a poll. And so if you are watching this episode right now, you can go over. There should be a community post that you can go and write down your suggestions. If you've already left suggestions in the comments, if you could still leave that same suggestion underneath the underneath that post. And you can also like link me to when you left that comment if you'd like, because I do think those of you who left comments early on, I think your options, your choices should be in there as much as I can, because I think it's only fair, because I asked y'all for name suggestions and you gave them to me. But I will still try and go back and see what names y'all came up with, and hopefully right now you're seeing what I'm saying, and you can make those suggestions in there. And then it'll probably be not the day after, but the following day, so I give y'all enough time to make your suggestions when you see this video. Then I'll make the poll, and then we'll have some names for these first ones. Huh? Finally? Except for these guys. They're called Dougs, and you don't get to change their name. They will be Dougs in perpetuity. Whee! Okay. Oh man, I miss Doug. So I've said this before, and you know, I guess it's a little, it's not spoilery, all right? I will call it kind of like we are in pre-production, okay? Where I do want to do another narrative series like the Glass Desert series that I did. I really wish Slime Rancher 2 had a roadmap right now so I could see when updates are coming out and everything. But because that's not the case, I am also starting to think about like what I could do story-wise and how I could film things and everything to do another narrative Slime Rancher series. Because I think I've mentioned it before, I loved doing that. I love being creative. I love telling stories. If there's one thing that I love in this world, it's being creative. It's flexing my brain muscles to come up with unique ways of seeing things or doing things. And yeah, that's something that I love, right? That's why I do D&D as a DM. It's why I liked creating the narrative for this. You know, when I was a kid, like I said, my friend Chad and I, we made movies and things. It's basically creativity is my thing, I guess. It's the one thing in this world that I think I'm really good at. There's other things that I want you to know that like I do have confidence in other things. I'm not trying to say that I don't have any confidence. I'm just trying to say that like I know that creativity is a place where I feel confident and can shine. And as I've said before, it's important to know your strengths. It's important to say them out loud and remind yourself that you are good at things, right? It's important to remind yourself that you should be good at things. You should be proud of the things that you can do. A lot of times people will try and stifle you, and they'll tell you not to be proud. That gives you an ego or something like that. But that's not true at all. There's a difference between an ego and being proud, right? Being proud is looking at work you've done and saying, I did a good job. Saying, I look at that work and I think that it is something worthy of being made. And the fact that I made it makes me feel like I am creative and I can do things. I am competent. Competence is a word that we use in psychology to basically mean like you try to have an effect on the world. And if you're competent, like, or competence is measured as, do you succeed or not? That's not saying, oh, you're incompetent if you're not. It's actually quite the opposite. It's saying, oh, we need to help you build competency in the things that you do, because that's how you build confidence and connection to things, right? So if you look at your work and you say things like, oh, it's not good enough. Oh, I'm no good at this. Oh, I should just stop. That's not good, all right? Look at your stuff. Be proud of your progress. Be proud of what you do. Keep pushing your head up against that stuff to try and get it done. All right? Because that's how things get done. No one is just an amazingly skilled artist just right out the gate. Do some people seem to have a little bit of an advantage? Certainly, right? We've all got different brains, and different brains are geared towards different things. But a brain is also something that's highly malleable, especially when you're younger, especially when you're building your passions and the things that you're going to spend your time on. So, regardless of if you have, quote unquote, the talent, which I hate that word, but the kind of like born into it ability, that doesn't mean you can't do it. Art is a skill. It is a skill that you build. Any form of art: writing, drawing, painting, making music, writing books, whatever it is that you do creatively, right? Taking pictures, anything that you do that requires an artistic eye. Game development, right? Even if you are working in like a medical field or something like that, there's a lot of creativity that can go into both how you treat people as people, right? And how you kind of come up with systems to help those around you, right? Creativity doesn't have to be just towards artistic things. I believe that creativity is a learned skill. And there's a lot to show about that in the psychological research. But it does require you to practice it. You do have to try to be creative to get better at it. And so that's why it's so important that when you want to do something, look at him fly away. Maybe he's not going into the slime sea. Bro, look at you. Is he coming back? Is he coming? No, it's fine. Oh, he blew up right before. He was like, I'm going out in a blaze of glory. Okay. Do I have another refinery? I do! Awesome. Totally cool. All right. So yeah, I guess that's what I would say about that stuff. So be proud of yourself. Don't let people stifle you to try and get you down. I think that there is there are many communities that look, like I said, at pride as ego. And yet I bet you can find within those people who say that some pretty hefty ego, right? Oftentimes when people criticize to that degree something that we know for a fact is good for people, but then they criticize, oftentimes it can be projection, oftentimes it can be jealousy, oftentimes it can be just outright apathy towards other people, right? It can be abusive in a way. Those things, they influence people, right? It has an impact. And so just recognize that if someone's saying that to you, it might be coming from a place of pain. So it's always important to be sympathetic towards people like that, or empathetic if you have the experience. But also, don't let it stifle you, right? If someone tells you, oh, you're not good at that, or oh, you should just give up, or whatever, double time it. Do it even harder, all right? Work twice as hard, all right? Not to prove that person wrong, but to prove to yourself that you are right? That you can do these things, that no matter what someone says or tries to do in order to bring you down, it's nothing, all right? Price has got your back, okay? Anybody says some sass to you about your creativity or trying to stop you from being the best you or doing the things that you love, just remember, I've got your back. If they don't got your back, I do, all right? I think that all y'all out there in this community, you're wonderful people. Y'all, I'm gonna tear up a little bit here. And we're so fortunate to have you as our community, and I know that y'all are so kind to one another, thoughtful, caring. It's, whew, y'all. It's a privilege. It's a pleasure to be able to be a part of that. And so I just want you to know that you've had such an impact on my life. Whew. And I want you to know that I support you. I'm a crier, y'all. I'm a crier. It's just what it is. It's genuine emotion, and I will not feel bad about that. If anything, I would like you to know that someone like me, who presents masculinely, and who has all this confidence and everything, that I can still be emotional, and I can still have confidence, right? I can still know that what I'm doing is good, and I know that y'all let me know how much I'm helping you, and I just want you to know how much you're helping me. Whew, y'all, the tears. Anyway, that's me being serious, but for real, if anybody tries to stop you, just remember that I want you to be creative, and I've got your back. I want you to push and do the things that you love. I've got your back. Don't let anyone get you down, because it's not worth worrying about them. It's worth taking care of you, you know? Okay. Moving on from that, let's continue to clear out our cages here, our corrals, get rid of these slimes, and let's get back to the rest of the subject at hand. So I am thinking about making obviously another narrative series within Slime Rancher, and I did that before. I've talked about it a couple times on here. My Glass Desert series. One of my favorite things that I did, obviously, I've told y'all I created it in a moment of tremendous pain. It was a distraction for me. But I think it helped me get through it. It helped me, survive in a tough time. So, I'm really looking forward to doing that again. Whew, I don't know why I'm so emotional today, y'all. My goodness. Like I said, I'm not gonna apologize for it. I hope that y'all recognize that, as, like I said, a masculine presenting person, I still can have my emotions. Okay. So, all right, we got this place pretty cleared out. We just need to go to the hunter baddies, and then we've got it cleared. And then where are we at on time? We're at only about 35 minutes, so I can definitely go and start gathering some materials. So I'll go look at our refinery, actually, and we'll see which materials we're kind of low on, and we'll go looking for those. Okay. Off to the other side. So yeah, keep in mind names that you want to give to these slimes. And kind of ideas that you maybe have for like the Gordos and stuff. Because for those of y'all who watch my Glass Desert series, y'all mentioned, you've been talking about Gordos and like where they should go. Those of y'all who have seen it know that the Gordos were a huge part of my story because, it's easy to have them in a spot where I can kind of, move them a little bit and whatnot, but also, give them a voice, do the voice of the characters kind of thing, because, it's what I like to do. It's a lot harder to do that with these guys who just run around all the time. So yeah, I'd be curious to know, like, what are your ideas about Gordos? What do you think about the Gordos in this one? Because I want the story to be very different, or at least, in a way, take the story to another place. Whether or not this new narrative that we make is going to connect to the original one, I haven't fully decided, although I do think that would be neat. And, I want to also figure out how I'm going to do it in a way where y'all can jump, like people can jump in without having to see all of this, because this series, we're already at like, what, episode 24 or something like that? I don't even know. A lot. We're at episode a lot. All right, let's go clear these guys out. So, So yeah, I want to know which Gordos y'all like to see. Part of me is thinking of having like regions of Gordos, but I'd also like to put some Gordos out in the wild. So I'd be curious which Gordos you think belong in the wild, where you think they might go. I think having y'all help me build almost the world here on the island, I think that will help me to... Oh, there's a neat little blue strip on there. That will help me maybe to come up with stuff. It's kind of like D&D, like I said before. I really like doing D&D. And part of D&D is collaborative storytelling. And that's like my favorite thing in D&D. So it's like we bounce ideas and things off of each other, right? I talk a lot in our D&D campaign. I say this almost every episode. I say, well, that went places I wasn't expecting. And you just change it on the fly. You make things up. You do fun things because it doesn't matter that you adhere to some strict system of rules when it comes to tabletop RPGs. In my opinion, it comes down to, you know, how everybody in the party wants to play, how everybody in the group wants to play, and, you know, finding a good D&D group that matches you is difficult because you want people who want to play in the same way you do. And sometimes people can be really up in the rules, and other times people are a little more fluid. And I stand on the side of being incredibly fluid. I think that the rules of a game like that are to help facilitate you with your collaborative storytelling. But at the end of the day, it's about building a story and a world and an adventure with your friends. And so if you listen to, if you go and listen to Hero Squad, there's a lot of really fun, funny moments, and then there's these intense, emotional moments. And the funny moments really punctuate those moments of intensity. But those moments of brevity and the levity and the funny bits and everything like that, that mostly comes from the rest of the group, right? That's Anna, Jazz, Ash, and Rick back when he was in the party. They're the ones who come up with all the funny stuff. I rarely am the humor guy in that, because what I want to do is I want to build this world that they can walk through. And then when they walk through it, they do funny stuff. And so together, I think it makes an incredible experience, and we enjoy the heck out of it. Oh, let's go see what resources I need. And so that's kind of the same thing I want to do here. You know, I don't fully have the ideas to flesh this world out, right? Like, where do we want to put which Gordos? What do we want to put the different decorations? Who do we think... You know, are there going to be factions of Gordos? Are there going to be Gordos that are here who maybe don't necessarily agree with the Gordos here? Or do they all work together? Or, you know, what is there a negative force in here? Those kinds of things. That's what I would like to know. Because, you know, all the Gordos could be good. Maybe they could all be on our side, you know, or maybe we have to earn their favor or something. I don't know. I think there's a lot of things that we could do. Okay. Oh, I did it again. Look at me. ADHD. That's what I do. That's me. Pricey. My goodness. Okay. Gonna look at the thing. Okay. Jellystone for sure. Primordial oil for sure. Buzzwax. And diamonds. Well, diamonds, I mean, we know about diamonds. Okay, so primordial oil, we know where we can get that. Buzzwax, we know where we can get a ton of that. But let's go to the Ember Valley first, because there is where we will find... Oh, and let's look at what snares cost. I think I used all my snares last time. I think they cost Jellystone, yeah, and primordial oil. So what we'll do is we're going to go through the Rainbow Island. This isn't called Rainbow, is it the Rainbow Fields? Is it here? I want to see what it's called. It might just be Rainbow Island. Oh, wrong way. I'd love it if we could put like hats and stuff on the Gordos. I think that'd be neat. So, yeah. So if y'all have input, if y'all have ideas or anything like that, let me know. Obviously, it's something that will be built into the story together. But, you know, I get if you want to save those ideas for yourself, right? Don't feel like you have to be like, here, Price, do this. If you've got an idea for a Slime Rancher story and you want to put it together on your YouTube channel and stuff like that, I mean, I would be down to check it out. I'll absolutely check out something like that if y'all do that, because I'm always interested to see the type of stuff that people make related to this. Like I said, Chrissy's been showing me the Reddit, and there's so much incredible stuff that people are doing. Truly, truly cool. So, you know, I'm down to check those out. I'd be really curious to. So, you know, if you're like, oh, I have this great idea for a story, but I kind of want to do it myself, but maybe I could help out Price. Nah, do it yourself. Do it yourself, okay? Get OBS to record. Try and get a mic that's maybe like mid-tier. I would suggest a Blue Yeti. They're pretty inexpensive for what they're capable of doing. They're really good at, I would say, as like a first YouTube microphone. And I know that a lot of y'all out there want to do YouTube. Not all of you. I know a lot of y'all just like to consume YouTube, which I do a lot of. And even if I hadn't become a YouTuber, I still would be watching a ton of YouTube. But I know a lot of y'all want to. It's something that I've learned over the years, and I'm incredibly, incredibly grateful that I get to do this. But apparently, being a content creator, YouTuber, probably TikToker now, are it's like the most sought after job. And part of it is like incredibly difficult to become a part of. So that's why even in my times like where I'm sad and down and like I should just stop and all that kind of stuff, you know, I both recognize how fortunate I am to be in this position. I recognize how much I love being able to connect with y'all and being able to make these creative things. You know, we all have our down days. We all have our moments of doubt. We all question whether or not we're doing the right thing or whether it's, you know, time to move on to something else. I personally struggle with that a lot. Imposter syndrome and things like that. I've gotten better over the years because, like I said, confidence is something that's good and you should have it. I think in the past I felt guilty for being confident because it felt like, oh, you've got this ego, like I said before. No, there is such thing as an ego. There is such thing as putting yourself so much before other people that you lose sight of what it is that you do. But if you can be confident in how good you are at something, but also, you know, recognize the struggles of other people or recognize the good work that other people do, you know, build other people up with what you do. I think that's an example of good confidence, not ego. Ego, you know, more comes into like, I think when my ego comes through is when we're playing video games together, specifically competitive games. When I play competitive games with the rest of the gang, my ego can often show its ugly head. And I've been trying to get a lot better at it. I think I have been, but still, sometimes I get too competitive and that's ego. That's ego. All right. That's what I'm working on because I know that that's bad. I shouldn't be tying my self-worth or my identity to winning at video games against my friends, right? I should be celebrating that I get to spend time and have fun with my friends and just recognize the silliness of it. Like, it doesn't matter. I don't have to win. That's like, whatever. I'm with my friends. It should be about just having fun, right? And if you let your ego get too big, as I often do, you miss out on the fun. So that's the part that I'm working on with my ego. I struggle to not take competitive games. I take them too hard. And so I need to work on that. And like I said, I've been working on that. Whereas I think in this space, I think of my creative space, I think, you know, when I see the comments that y'all leave and everything like that, it makes me feel confident in what I do. But I still don't think I'm putting my ego in there because I am always doubting myself. I'm always thinking I gotta go further and further and further. And that doubt is not a lack of confidence. It is simply an acknowledgement of the type of thing that I do for a living. And also kind of wanting to do more so that y'all get the best of me. You know what I mean? I want to make sure that y'all, for supporting me, that I can do as much as possible to earn that support. So yeah, anyway, once again, talking about serious topics over here on the Price podcast that has some Slime Rancher involved. And yeah. So I guess that's the topic I wanted to talk about. Confidence. That's sprung up. I don't think that's what I was going to talk about. But, you know, sometimes that's where these places go. So yeah, if y'all are doing creative things, let me know about it. I know one... Oh, I hear ya. Where are ya? You above me? You around the corner? Hey, bud. Whee! Lucky cat inside the stone. How you doing? You're on your own, but looks like you are happy enough to be fine. Okay. Let's go off to the Ember Valley. How much jelly? So we got 12. That's not enough. But, I mean, it is some. It is some. And we'll keep building it up. Because I think that now, because we are done with the treasure pods, it really is just, okay, let's look at the resources. Let's get the resources. Let's start decorating. Because, I mean, at this point, we actually have a lot of decorations that we've gotten from gifts, right? Cancel. Is there something there? Oh, yeah, that's one of the things. That's right. So, yeah, we've got all these things, right? So I can put some of this stuff out here. And I'll say a lot of y'all, or some of y'all out there have been saying, well, maybe decorate the conservatory first, which we could totally do. I could go decorate the, the tide pools, could get those pink coral columns, everything like that. I like to kind of have a consistent style to start with, right? So the beach stuff go in the beach areas, the forest stuff goes in the forest areas, etc. So that's just the style I like to play. But in a future file, I'm sure we will just go bonkers. I'll say, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and give away this idea. I have tons of ideas all the time, and I'm not going to necessarily do them all. And some of them I don't know how I would do, or just getting it to go would be kind of difficult because of the way that I do these. But I've thought about oh, wouldn't it be fun if I brought on other people and they could talk about stuff while I'm playing Slime Rancher? But the problem is I don't know if I'd be able to pay attention to them and the game at the same time. And I feel like me moving around in the game is part of what makes it, what helps make it kind of more receptive and enjoyable, I guess. I don't know. It's like when you have some stuff going on, it gives you a little bit of a something to hold on to while the words are coming by. But for me to have to engage while doing that might be difficult. I can do these, I guess, mini lectures. I don't know, these discussions, these brain dumps, whatever you want to call it. And and that's fine. But that's because, I mean, I've been practicing my talk to yourself for the past 8 years, however long I've been doing this. And then before that I was teaching and everything. So it's I have learned the skill of just never stop talking. And it's got its downsides, but it does make it easier to do this YouTube thing. There's a lot less silence. And I think that that's what, that's part of the appeal. It's part of the appeal. It just keeps on going. So I want to try and figure out how to do that at some point. Maybe I bring people on and they play Slime Rancher. That could be fun. I have people on, they play Slime Rancher, and I sort of help them along if they have questions, but then we just sort of podcast it. Ooh, I might have to look into that. That could be fun. And those would be different files. Obviously, that would be their files. And then I could use Parsec to parsec in and watch them play while we talk about stuff. Ooh, okay. Have an idea. See, talking it through here, it helps me so much with my comprehension of my ideas. It's actually a psychological thing that is actually a really good idea. I think we talked about it in the past, but it's when you're struggling with something or you're trying to figure something out, or when you're really confused about something, trying to make it saying it out loud to yourself will help you organize the ideas, because in order to take an idea and turn it into words, you have to transform that information in your head. You don't necessarily think in words. You think in feelings, all right? It may feel like words, and if you stop and you go all right, I want to say this word in my head, right? I just said duck in my head before I said it out loud. But it's not like I heard it. It's not like I necessarily looked at the letters, right? I just, in my head, the idea of duck, right? Or something along those lines. I don't know why duck. It was the first thing I could think of. So that, I think, is another big part of it. And so here, me talking to you about this idea, now I'm coming up with other ways of making it work. Like I said, I hadn't thought about letting other people play and me talking to them. I had only thought about me playing and other people talking. So now that's something I may be able to do. Ooh. I'll talk, you know what? I'm going to talk to Chrissy about that. Maybe I can get Chrissy on board to do that with me. And that could be fun. And especially because Chrissy has played a ton of this, so Chrissy actually knows a lot about Slime Rancher. Like I said, she's gotten all the treasure pods. She's, done all the things. So Chrissy can come at it from a perspective of like knowledge, separate knowledge, but the same knowledge, right? Different experiences, but the same overall. Gosh darn it, I was trying to get up here, and that guy landed on my head and broke my my stride. So we're just going to go up higher. Oh, more primordial. So yeah, we'll see about that. We'll see about that. I think that'd be pretty cool. And yeah, alongside those, you know what? I was talking earlier about wanting to support smaller channels that do this kind of thing, Slime Rancher or similar types of talks that I do or whatever, within like kind of like the wholesome space, I would like to think that we're a part of like a wholesome portion of YouTube. But we'll occasionally talk about things that are serious. I mean, I think I talk about serious things probably every episode, and it's just something I can't get away from. But at the same time, like, y'all support it, and that makes me feel so great, and so I can just keep going, because I do like talking about important things. I think that, there's just a part of me that, struggles to talk about just like mundane things. Not to say that they aren't worth talking about, but, I think I get really focused on kind of bigger picture things a lot of the time. And I guess it's the psychology part, I guess, too. I always want to help people kind of understand themselves better, because I feel like if you understand yourself really well, that's going to help you understand other people. Because again, like trying to form language around an idea, trying to say something out loud in your head, experiencing that positivity and confidence in yourself and knowledge that you're capable of things and feeling good about yourself, it's going to make it easier for you to feel that way about other people, right? Because you feel it, you understand it, you can see it. I'll give an example of this actually from recent times, that where I've felt a closer connection to Chrissy because I'm feeling something that she has felt for a long time and that I have not. And that's the experiences associated with ADHD medication, specifically stimulants, because that's one of the things I went on recently. Those are those new meds I was talking about that really helped me with my focus. And, I've seen Chrissy experience a lot of the negative side effects. And in the past, I've been able to sympathize and do my best to help Chrissy through those moments and everything. But I couldn't truly empathize. I hadn't felt those things before. Now I have, I have felt those things. One of the things that happens is your body gets really warm and can't cool down as quickly. So I'll go on walks and things now, and I have to come home and ice myself, or, go and sit under some cold water in the sink or something like that. I say sit, I mean run my hands in my head through it or something. But I didn't ever have to do that before. My body could thermoregulate super easy. What do we lose here? Honestly, don't need the puddle plort. I can get puddle plorts at home, We've got puddle plorts at home. Puddle plorts at home. So, gosh, I completely lost my train of thought there. So yeah, like the thing where you get warm and then you can't thermoregulate. I never had a problem like that before. The crash and how it makes your body feel and how intensely that crash is. It's not bringing you back down to your norm. It swings you deep down into your tiredness. And so feeling that now, I have a much greater appreciation for what Chrissy goes through. And so I think that it, in a way, it strengthens our relationship by bonding more over that experience, even though it's a negative experience, and understanding each other better, So I think it's a great thing. I think it's a great thing. It's no fun to experience the side effects, but it's a great thing to be able to, connect that little bit more with how Chrissy feels. So yeah, ultimately, I hope that I can provide that for y'all, and that is something that you can get out of this, right? You can maybe feel closer to the idea of your own confidence, your self-worth, things like that, right? It's easy to let the world around you make you feel bad about yourself, make you question yourself, stifle your creativity, you know, throw water on your fire. And I want to do the opposite. I want to build you up. I want you to realize how good you are and how deserving of not just like love you are, which everyone is, but, you know, you're deserving of confidence, self-worth, knowing that you're a person who is, you know, good, or that you're good, you know, your identity, what your identity comes around, that you can be confident in that and not have to feel these feelings of doubt that come from other people's judgment, you know? Feeling doubt about things can happen and be good, right? It'll make you question things. It'll make you try and think through other options. It'll make you be a little more safe about things. But not in all contexts. Not in all contexts. You need to have confidence in some things so that you not only have part of your identity associated with it, but so you can feel that and know what it feels like so that you can carry that forward. Because when you have that feeling and other people try to put you down, you don't get affected, or not nearly as much, because you can say, all right, they can say that, but I know they're wrong, right? I know I'm good at this thing, or I know that, you know, what I'm standing by is the right thing, or whatever. And I think that's really important. And I hope that what I've said today can help you get there. We're coming up on the end of the episode here. Still looking around for resources and stuff. We're going to head this way because I know there's that one spot that has a ton of primordial oil in that pool. But yeah, so I guess we'll start doing the preamble here, the post-amble, excuse me, even though I don't know if that's a word. But I hope you have that in yourself. I hope you build that confidence and everything like that. So with that, y'all, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please do hit that like button. Subscribe if you're not already. I put out one of these every single day. So if you enjoyed this little podcast where I got emotional, where I talked about big things, and where we also were able to do some silly stuff with some slimes, if that's your thing, maybe stop by again tomorrow. See if you want to keep it up. And, you know, maybe subscribe. Also, if you could leave a comment, that's great. That kind of engagement is something that tells YouTube, hey, keep checking out my stuff. And also other people might want to check out my stuff. So secret comment of the day is not believe in yourself. It is I believe in myself. Okay? I want you to say with confidence that you believe in yourself. Okay? Because just saying it out loud, or even in type, I think is going to be a really good thing. So that's the secret comment of the day. I believe in myself. All right? And beyond that, also, maybe if you can go watch another one of my videos, that would be great. It definitely helps out with the algorithm. It tells YouTube that not only do you like my video, you like it so much you want to keep coming back. And that's like the best thing for the algorithm. So if you could do that, that would be awesome. One of my videos right now, I have no idea why, but it keeps getting a ton of views. It must be being featured on someone else's pages, but I have this video that came out right before Slime Rancher 2, and it's like a 2.5 hour long or 3 hour long stream that I did in hyping up Slime Rancher 2. You can go check that one out. Even, you know, load it up and just leave it running in the background while you're doing stuff. That helps too. Just anything that, you know, you can do in order to support would be great. But obviously, you know, I hope you're enjoying it, and then that's why you support it. But with that, y'all, most importantly, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I have been Price, and I will see y'all next time.